This country is famous for the Great Wall or Silk Road. China not only preserves an ancient craft, but also dominates the global market, producing more than 1 billion tons of silk every year. The evolution from caterpillar to silk fabric is a fascinating process. It starts with the efforts of farmers raising billions of silkworms. Each silk thread is woven from the first journey in the life of each silkworm. Farmers need thousands of silkworm cocoons to create 1 kilogram of silk. From a tiny silkworm egg to adulthood, each stage requires careful care to ensure perfect quality. Farmers carefully select the best caterpillars, because the health of the breeder is very important to produce high-quality silkworm eggs. Silkworm eggs, as small as grains of sand, will hatch into larvae after about 10 days of age. The larvae undergo 5 weeks of growth before entering hibernation to become cocoons. Finally, from these silk cocoons, they hatch into adult butterflies. Choosing a good silkworm breed not only affects silk quality, but also affects their ability to survive in a silkworm farming environment. Ideal conditions for silkworm growth include temperatures between 77 and 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and humidity between 85 and 90%. Silkworm farmers always ensure that these conditions are met to promote development and optimize silk production. That's why the world is always impressed with silk and the silkworm raising method used by the Chinese. Feeding these larvae is a meticulous job. Mulberry leaves are the main food source. Mulberry leaves are cut into small pieces and fed continuously to ensure adequate nutrition. On average, each silkworm can consume from 50 to 100 grams of mulberry leaves per day. Young silkworms do not eat as much as old silkworms. Leaves should be added at least once a day. Ideally, they feed the silkworms with leaves 2 to 3 times per day once the silkworms reach full size. Farmers usually feed them once in the morning, once at noon, and once in the evening. Experienced silkworm farmers have found that instead of feeding large amounts of mulberry leaves at once, they increase the intervals between feedings in order to reduce waste build-up and reduce the risk of disease. No one knows how many mulberry leaves a silkworm eats during their lifetime. Therefore, to save on food costs, farmers often grow mulberry trees themselves. If a silk producer is planning a breeding run of around 20,000 silkworms, they will plant around 2,000 cuttings and care for them for around 8 months to a year before starting silkworm farming. Producers must have 500 to 600 kilograms of leaves in order to feed 20,000 silkworms throughout their life cycle. In early spring, thousands of families in rural China walk into the fields to pick the last mulberry leaves from the trees. Nong gets ready for their silkworms. At the same time, regular cleaning of the farming area is very important in order to prevent diseases. These tireless efforts ensure that each silk thread produced is exceptionally pure and soft. Dry lime helps a lot in creating a clean environment. Not only does it keep the barn dry and ventilated, it also wicks away moisture, preventing the growth of bacteria and fungi in humid conditions. The hungry caterpillars spend about a month munching on mulberry leaves. After growing to a size of around 3 inches at maximum, in around 6 weeks, they stop eating, change colour, and weigh around 10,000 times more than when they first hatched. When entering the final stages of their life cycle, silkworms begin to spin cocoons. This is to prepare for their magical transformation. At this time, the silkworm covers a layer of adhesive to shape the cocoon. It ejects a single protein filament, then rotates its body in a figure-8 motion around 300,000 times, creating a kilometre of filament. Farmers must harvest the cocoons before the silkworms complete the process of turning into butterflies. It's very important for them to carefully remove the cocoon from the shell and maintain its shape. The cocoons are boiled in water to soften and bind the silk fibers together, forming shiny silk rolls. The next step is the combination of traditional and modern art. Farmers can dye silk fibers with natural ingredients such as turmeric leaves or chemicals to create a rich color palette to meet customers' needs. Silk threads go through weaving techniques from traditional looms to modern weaving and automatic machinery. All methods produce fine silk fabric that reflects the craftsmanship and sophistication of Chinese farmers. This process not only highlights the beauty of silk, but also preserves the inherent qualities of silk fibers. Every product made from silk ensures the high quality and durability, making it the top choice for those who demand perfection in every detail. Silk threads from silkworm cocoons have been woven into fabric for more than 4,000 years. Although silk only accounts for a small percentage of the global textile market, approximately less than 0.2%, but its manufacturing base is spread across 60 countries around the world. India is the second largest silk producer in the world after China, then are countries like Brazil, Thailand, and Vietnam. The combination of advanced technology and traditional methods has helped China establish a leading position in the global silk industry. Currently, this country has more than 500,000 silkworm farms and more than 1,000 silk processing factories. Tiny silkworms not only produce quality silk threads, but are also an attractive source of income for farmers. From 2 to 3 days after the cocoons are completed, farmers proceed to harvest the silkworm cocoons. After harvesting, silkworm cocoons can be used in industrial factories. They must first go through a quality check process. This process includes selecting and eliminating low-quality cocoons, retaining only the best cocoons for processing into high-quality silk. Silkworm cocoons are collected and packaged into large bags for transport to the processing factory. Each bag can contain up to 1,000 silkworm cocoons, with a weight that can go from dozens to hundreds of kilograms. Silk manufacturing companies in China can buy cocoons from local farmers at attractive prices, providing them with significant additional income at the factories. Dedicated workers meticulously inspect each silk cocoon to ensure absolute quality. Before processing, poor quality silk cocoons are removed. The purest silkworm cocoons are boiled for 10 to 15 minutes to soften the silk and kill the pupa inside. This stage is very important in creating unique silk products. Workers adjust machines and control twist levels and speeds according to the customer's specific needs. The automatic spinning machine is one of the outstanding products that combines precision and stability and can process many different types of yarns. Currently, supporting equipment has been developed to optimize the silkworm farming process. This helps farming areas to increase their economics. The silk industry in China is not only a symbol of wisdom and spirit, But this precious cultural heritage also enriches the country's appearance and economy. At the same time, the perseverance and creativity of farmers has maintained this unique livestock farming profession. When you think of chicken farms, you probably think of chickens crammed in cages no bigger than an A4 sheet of paper. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization, in 2023, 34.4 billion chickens were raised globally. Most of the chickens are forced to lay eggs up to 300 per year in these harsh conditions. A world where chickens roam freely, living in harmony with nature, may seem like a utopian fantasy. But it's a reality in parts of China. In Yangshan, Guangdong Province, mountainous regions, a unique method of raising chickens has been in operation for many years. Among the various free-range breeds thriving in Yangshan, the Yangshan chicken is renowned as one of Guangdong's 8 finest breeds. Yangshan chickens are muscular and easily distinguishable by their distinctive plumage, featuring a blend of 3 shades of yellow thanks to their organic corn diet. They reach maturity after 4 to 5 months of roaming the hills, and usually weigh in around 2.5 to 3 kilograms. Apart from Yangshan chickens, other chicken breeds capable of living at altitudes from 800 to 1500 meters above sea level are also raised in these high hills and mountains. The stark contrast between free-range and caged chicken farming lies in the birds' living conditions. Free-range chickens spend their lives roaming open hills, basking in the sun and foraging for food, a natural existence that promotes their physical and mental well-being. However, they don't produce many eggs, usually only around 100 to 120 eggs a year, and they are also smaller in size, weighing around 40 to 45 grams each. But all of their eggs are tastier and have a higher level of omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals. The more active chickens also produce a more flavorful and firmer meat that turns bright yellow when cooked. The journey of mountain chicken farming begins with high-quality eggs from a reputable hatchery or breeding farm. The ideal temperature for incubation is around 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity levels ranging from 55 to 70%. It takes around 21 days for the chicks to hatch. In large-scale hatching operations, such as this one in Mingshui County, Heilongjiang Province, China, up to 400,000 chicks are hatched yearly. You see, the demand truly increased because this place used to only hatch 70,000 chicks just 5 years ago. Once hatched, the chickens are typically transferred to brooder pens, normally located in a windproof and well-ventilated, sheltered area. Before welcoming the newborn chicks, farmers line the pens with 7 to 10 centimeters of disinfected chaff or straw in order to provide insulation and warmth. The pen measures around 3 square meters and will fit 100 chicks. During the first 2 to 3 weeks, chicks are unable to regulate their body temperature effectively, so continuous lighting will keep them warm enough to eat and drink. Farmers will offer them clean, lukewarm water mixed with chick electrolyte supplements and 6 to 8 small meals per day. The chicks are still very weak, so farmers will keep everything clean, wash their troughs twice a day, and also give them medicine as prescribed by veterinarians. As chicks grow, organic food sources such as greens and forage are also provided in order to get them used to the food on the mountain. On a favourable day, the chickens are released onto the hills early in the morning, where they spend almost all of their day. Farmers follow and live stream them to build an online customer base in order to increase sales. The hills where the chickens roam are dotted with trees, providing ample shade and opportunity for the birds to perch, play, and even catch insects. The diet of free-range chickens is as diverse as their surroundings and are fed outdoors like this. In the summer, farmers hardly feed them because there is so many grasshoppers around. Some farmers get creative and encourage their chickens to run more by feeding them behind a moving car like this. Studies from Our World in Data have shown that free-range chickens experience 57 to 70% less pain and suffering compared to their caged counterparts. Recognizing the benefits of free-range practices, the EU plans to ban the use of any cage by 2027. To encourage egg laying, farmers construct simple nests using bamboo, wood, or leaves. In the mountainous regions of Xinjiang in northern China, over 50,000 chickens roam across 200 hectares of hills, laying their eggs in approximately 30 chicken barns built right there on the mountaintops. Their barns and sleeping areas are often designed like this, to save space and mimic the mountainous terrain. While most chickens prefer to lay their eggs in their nests, a few may choose to lay them under trees or just right here on the ground like this. To ensure no eggs are missed, farmers diligently check the barns and roaming areas to collect the eggs one by one, 2 times a day. Farmers with around 7,000 chickens can yield up to 9,400 eggs each day. Despite their large numbers, manual labour remains high in order to provide jobs for the locals in rural areas. Once collected, the eggs undergo a simple inspection and sorting process. To preserve the natural protective layer on the eggshell, they are only lightly cleaned. Workers carefully place the eggs into cardboard or plastic trays, ensuring that they are well protected during transportation. These trays are then loaded onto trucks and delivered to local markets and pre-ordered customers. Large-scale free-range egg producers often have their own on-site packing facilities, capable of packaging up to 74,000 eggs from all the nearby farms. These fresh, high-quality eggs are then distributed to the supermarkets and retail outlets, where consumers are willing to pay a premium price, typically $3 to $4 per dozen. Cage eggs may cost as little as $1.25 to $2 per dozen. When weather conditions are unfavourable, such as extreme heat or cold, the chickens are brought indoors to ensure their comfort and well-being is maintained. While indoors, large barns still provide them with enough room to stretch their legs, perch on platforms, and interact with each other. A typical free-range chicken barn can comfortably house around 600 chickens. Some farmers prepare fresh feed daily, combining locally grown ingredients from their hills with feed pellets. And of course, regular clean water is a must for these active chickens. The location of free-range farms is carefully chosen to minimize the risk of predation. However, in some cases, natural predators such as hawks and foxes may pose a threat. To protect their chickens, farmers remove bushes and predators' potential hiding places around the barn. They also build sturdy fences and regularly check the surrounding areas for signs of predator activity. And if predators are caught, they will be sold or eaten. The exact weight at harvest varies depending on the breed, but free-range chickens typically weigh between 1.8 and 2.4 kilograms. While lighter than their caged-raised counterparts, free-range chickens have more muscle mass and less fat. Chickens are selectively caught on the hills and transported to the local slaughterhouse. In large-scale operations on this farm, chickens are harvested in batches and transported to facilities on cool days to minimize stress and heat shock. With a capacity to process up to 15,000 chickens per hour, these facilities ensure a smooth and timely operation. Chickens are stunned either using gas or electrified water baths to render them unconscious. The chickens are then bled, passed through a hot water bath at around 55 degrees Celsius, which loosens their feathers, which are then removed using an automated feather removal machine. The legs and internal organs are then removed and packaged separately. The carcasses undergo multiple washing stages to ensure thorough cleaning and sanitation. Many processing plants offer whole chickens packaged with their internal organs. These whole chickens are typically sold at around $9.23 per kilogram. For those who prefer convenience, chickens can also be cut into various parts and packaged in trays. These pre-cut portions offer consumers a quick and easy way to prepare chicken meals.